What's going on, guys? What's cracking? I'm inside the house right now. My buddy Cody just showed up with his Pure Function hat on. Can you turn around real quick? Cody, read!
Hey.
We got a box of parts right here. But before we do that, hold on. My poor puppy here, my wife is holding, is in dire straits. She had 27 teeth pulled from her poor head today. She apparently had some, like bacterial thing in her face or her head or whatever.
Periodontal disease, I guess.
So she had teeth disease, whatever the hell it is. And she's crying.
Ornery and she doesn't let anybody brush her teeth.
She won't let us brush her teeth. We gave her every dental bone known to man, and just look at her. She wasn't getting any better, so they ripped out all the teeth. She has her front canines and top canines, but there ain't much left. It's okay, baby. She keeps whimpering, but let's get back outside here. Poor Raven. Guys, show some love for the poor girl. I've got parts I want to show you. So I got a box of parts in the mail, but before we start even looking at the parts, we need to look at the message on top. This came from my buddy at TCS. Micropenis.com. Thank you for your order. Magnifying glass, enlarging cream enclosed. Use coupon code less than 2 inches for 15% off your next order at micropenis.com. Fuck you, Ty. Fuck you, Ty Saxon over at TCS, you motherfucker. I knew, like, we've been going back and forth on this, guys. This has been going on for a long time, so it just kind of cracks me up. But yeah, we always do shit like this. But he said, you know, Ryan, do you need some black couplers? For if you guys don't know, on my MR2, I have these ugly red couplers. The last owner, when he had this car built by TCS, he wanted red couplers. Why? I have no idea. But he did. So Ty's like, well, let me send you some black couplers so we can get it ready for Bear Mountain. Well, the nice guy that he is, even though he screws with me, sends me a new intake tube, which is awesome. Sends me all new couplers, replacing every single one of them. And I had asked about getting one of these before, and of course he sends me one. Like, dude, talk about a nice guy hooking a brother up. Again, that's TCS Motorsports, guys. The owner is Ty Saxon. This is their newest version of it too. He was having issues before with the caps leaking. He put one of these GM style caps on it now, and they don't have that issue. I'll show you what this all does here in a minute. So my boy Cody's here right now. Look at that. He's vlogging it up. We vlogging. My boy, he's going ham here lately.
Joby?
Well, I don't got a Joby. I ain't rich like him. You know, I ain't about that life like he is. But he's using a nicer cannon than I am. What do we got going on over here?
It's all the same, bro. It's all the same.
What do we got going over? Is that sun here? This is Pennsylvania. We don't have sunlight here. What the hell is that thing up there in the sky?
That small little area right there, and then everything else is black.
Yeah, it's like black hell. Bro, what are you showing me right now? What are you looking at? What's good?
Oh, look at my brand new alternator, bro. Look at that thing. It's
Woo,
all
shiny.
Yeah. I asked my best friend for help to put the alternator on. Never got any help, you know.
This bitch wanted to do, he's like, oh yeah, bro, roll over right after work and do it. I'm like, bro, I am not touching that motherfucker when it's 8,000 degrees. Let it sit and we'll go do it. Nah, bro, I gotta get done now. Impatient fuck. Because he had to sell his WRX. God forbid he couldn't let it sit. All right, guys, so here's everything that came in the kit, or what Ty sent me. So yeah, so we got a water adapter neck here now. We've got a new 4-inch intake, but there was no filter. That he didn't realize the one I already have is a 3-inch, so we went ahead and stepped up to a 4-inch, so I do need to get a filter. And he sent me all new couplers, and this is for bolting that down. But this is the one thing I'm really stoked on. I won't be able to do it at this exact moment in time just because flushing the system on MR2 is a bit tricky, and I do have Bear Mountain coming up. And last thing I want is cooling issues just before I head up to Bear Mountain. But I do want to get this on as soon as I get back. That's going to be one of the first things I do, and then flush the entire system, which again I heard is not the easiest thing in the world to do. But I'm going to go ahead and toss this on and update some of my couplers, which are these two. The one that actually goes from the throttle body, and this one goes directly, I believe these both go directly on the intercooler itself. So let's go ahead and over here to the car and start taking stuff off and get it ready. Okay, so I just spoke to Ty. That airflow meter or whatever, he's pretty much saying it doesn't matter. You can put it in, I can drill the hole, but it doesn't matter. So I can go ahead and put this intake in over there. But before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and put my new intercooler couplers on. I already took those two off. Here's the pipe, I slipped it on with the new clamps. I've got the one right there. If it focuses, you can see I've got that black one there. This is where I wish mine was a side feed too, because look at all this. Look how easy it would be if it was a side feed. I would be able to get in here right now and get to my spark plugs and stuff, but you can't because you have to take all that off just to get to your spark plugs. It reminds me of the NA Supermotor, which is quite annoying, but I'm not going to bitch or complain because this is better than nothing. But before we install the new intake, I want to show you the old one here, and there's the old couplers again. Here's the one thing I noticed too, the one was starting to rip. If you see that there, it's got a little tear in it. But here's the old intake, it's a little bit longer. This is also an old school TCS setup. This is, looks like, to me, it looks like Home Depot pipe that he welded some bungs onto. Uses an AEM 3-inch dry flow, but it was longer. And then here is the new shorter. So you can see the difference in, if I stand back here. This one was a little bit longer, the shorter, but the new filter will stick out further, so it's, it's kind of cutting hairs here, literally. No matter what, it's a heat soak back there, so whatever. This just looks better. Kind of wish it didn't have the bungs at all because I don't use them, but I don't think he makes a version without them, but it does look better than that one. And he does supply the little caps, which I do like, so I might have to get something like either zip tie or use clamps. I might use zip ties just so they're black and doesn't stand out as much. But yeah, all I gotta do now is slip this on and I'll be done. All right, guys, so of course I've got an ice cold Keystone here, but I've got the intake on now and that looks much better with the black couplers and the new shiny intake versus the old one. Plus I liked it being a 4-inch filter, looks better. Again, is it gonna give me real much performance? Realistically, I highly doubt it. The only way we'd see I would say 3 to 4 maybe horsepower because you're opening it up and there's less restriction there, and I'll put a bigger filter on it. But being honest, I highly doubt it's really going to make that much of a difference. But it does look better, and I do appreciate it, Ty, as usual. So it gets rid of that old one. So guys, I'll have that one up for sale, 50 bucks. Someone can grab it. The filter alone is $60. So you're pretty much getting the intake clamps, all the couplers and everything for free. You're just paying for the filter pretty much. Now, here's where I'm a little bit nervous. You guys know how I am. So Ty is telling me, go ahead and grab this here, I can go ahead and install this, and flushing it shouldn't be an issue. Keyword, shouldn't. He said, because you're really not losing much. So let me show you guys here. The only thing I'm really disconnecting coolant wise is this main hose right here, and then what goes to the block. And obviously whatever residue or water is in the block will stay flush in there as long as I don't drop anything in. I'm gonna pull this hose up here, put a zip tie through this little guy, and hold the hose up so all the fluid stays in and I shouldn't have a problem. I am gonna lose fluid down in here a little bit. If I open the cap up here, obviously this car hasn't ran in a skinny minute. If I press on the hose here, it should. Yep. I mean, she is full to the tilt. God, she stinks too, though. So yeah, when I take this off, it's gonna leak fluid everywhere. So I'm gonna have to get a bucket or something to put under it here because coolant's always a pain in the ass. I always hate dealing with it. But this will help clean things up. If you guys can see, it sits right here, so you don't have this sitting off the side. It just looks cleaner and more, I don't know, it makes sense more, I guess. I'm not sure why Toyota even did it this way. I guess to try to have the highest point, but this realistically is still higher. You can see that they have the neck extended up. He's been making these for years and years. It's like one of his, I think it's one of his big sellers. So pretty excited about getting that on. I'm gonna try doing it here quick. All right, guys, so I started removing some stuff here. As you can see, I removed everything off this side, removed the pipe that went down to this. Now, only thing I have to do here is remove this. I'm gonna pull it up again, tie it off here, or try to pull it up maybe even above the intake. That'll be fine. The next thing I had to do after that then is remove these 2 bolts and pop off. Now some fluid's probably going to come out of there again. I do have cardboard underneath for it to drip down on, and then that should be it. I mean, I am going to dry it off then and use a little bit of gasket maker per Ty's advice. He said there's old O-rings in there since I don't have one. He said just to put some of this on. This is what he does. So I'm not going to put a ton on. He said just put a light layer on and it will suffice. So I'm just going to do that and then put some fluid in, which I guess I'm gonna have to go get coolant because I don't think I have any Toyota Red left. I'm not sure what he used in this. All right, making a little bit of a mess here, but I put I guess this is a lid to something, but it's catching my coolant fine. Not that much coolant came out, which is good. If you can see there, you can see there's still coolant on the top of it, and it's dripping out just a little bit by a little bit, and you can see that little black O-ring in there. Ty's telling me, because of it's being crushed down a couple times, just rub a little bit of this on. Obviously, I'm gonna have to dry that area out first, and make sure I'm probably have to suck just a little bit of coolant in there just to make sure it doesn't come out. I don't want to get it on the gasket maker itself, but we should be good to go. Here is the new one versus the old setup. Now, this pipe here is going to the hose right there that would have fed to the top and then bolted to the side, where this does not need that anymore. This has a pretty high pressure. It's a GM style. What is it? I don't know if it says the PSI on it. It's assembled in Mexico though. It's just one generic one they, you know, every GM guy uses, but this has the port on the side, just like the factory one does, for the actual coolant hose that goes to the stock turbo, so I do like that. And then it does have the bung up here that I need to attach the overflow tank to. Now, most guys, what they do is get rid of the stock setup. I'm gonna have to replace this line, obviously, but they get rid of the coolant tank down here and mount it up here, tuck all this stuff, get rid of the charcoal canister, which is all stuff I'm going to do, but I don't wanna make this video too long, so I just wanna finish up these last things and we'll be done. Now, again, guys, I am putting some red RTV, which is gasket maker, around that just for the fact that I don't want it to leak. I'm just gonna rub it around where the black O-ring is. Ty said he's never had one leak, but he's like, you're driving with the bare mount, just to be safe, man, just do this for me. Shouldn't be an issue, and if I need to, I can scrape it off down the road. I'm not gonna put a ton on, just like I said, I'm putting a dab on here real quick. So it turns out my red RTV was no good. It was actually completely solid hard, so I guess I let air or whatever get into it and it was junk. But what I do have is something better. I have Toyota FIPG, which if you guys know what this is, this shit is like impossible to get off. So just a dab of this will do. Oil pans, camshafts, you name it. I use it for all the coolant stuff too, just to be safe. So yeah, this takes a shit ton of heat. When I mean a shit ton of heat. This makes our red RTV look like junk. Yeah, so I'm gonna put a dab of that on and that should help me a ton. All right, now it's time to bleed it. So I've already got water in it. You guys can't even see it because it's yellow there, but I've got water in it right now. I'm gonna turn the car on. Like I said, there was still full coolant and I made sure to keep as much coolant down in there. The only coolant that really filled up is inside that neck and probably to about here, but just to be safe, I'm putting my bleeder kit on it. I've had this for a while and I've always used this on my Supra and it's always worked pretty well, so hopefully everything works out all right here. I'm gonna keep this back here just for, as you guys probably hear me move this thing right now, just for safety precaution, just so I can record it and I know what's going on. So waiting for it to get up to temp right now. MR2s take forever to get up to temperature. This isn't unusual. You can see some of the fluid bleeding up in. Looks like it's shitting right now. But I don't see any leaks yet, but you'll see real leaks once it starts to circulate now. Until the, God, I can't think of the word. Until the thermostat opens up, nothing's going to change. All right, guys, doing the last little test right here. Put the cap back on. So far, so good. No leaks that I can see. No leaks that I could see anywhere down in there. Seems to be all right to me, which I'm pretty freaking happy about. So you can hear that it's kicking on right. So it means it's at temp. It means it's circulating and the cap's holding, which makes me happy. This cap, like I said, was his fix after all these years. And everyone that's used it so far hasn't had a problem. There's guys daily driving these cars with it, so it makes me feel good. And we're good to go, we're golden. All right, guys, so that's it. Everything's installed now. I've got the crossbar back on, and it looks good. It's nice having everything stainless steel now. Getting rid of that intake, it looks better. Ty went ahead and sent me a new intake filter also. And guys, yeah, that looks 10 times better. I love that I got rid of all of this crap over here. So now I also got rid of the charcoal canister. I got rid of all the lines. The only line I do have is the one that vents from the tank directly. Now, people have said before, same thing with my Supra, that you get a fuel smell. I've never had that problem. With my car was NA, I did it, and I never once, I parked it inside my garage just like I have now. Never was a problem, so I never saw the issue. I'm not sure if people are just making things up or it really was a problem, but I've never dealt with it, so I'm just gonna leave it be. That being said, guys, as usual, thank you guys very much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. It helps me out with all the videos, helps sharing. If you guys could, go down below, check out the Facebook and Instagram, always posting stuff way ahead of time. Also, go check out the Pure Function website. We've got new hats, new merch, everything that you guys do for me. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you later.